Last night on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
It's a team that's supposed to be arriving this year. It's a team that the owner said, there was an urgency to win. The general manager echoed that sentiment, that this was a year they needed to compete. It looks like, as the late Beano Cook would say when he was talking about, Pitt compared to Notre Dame, he'd say, the Pirates just don't have the material to compete. And it seems that they don't, Bob, and that's a troubling thought. That's the kind of thought, if these guys just aren't that talented, that should get Ben Cherington fired.
Well, this is a recurring theme over general managers of eras gone by. Just drafting the wrong people, not developing the ones you have. You expect more out of what you got. They've had #1 overall picks now twice, more than that if you go back to Garrett Cole. All these things, you should be a good team. You should be like Tampa if that's the case, and you're not doing it. So if you're not going to develop from within, then, my claim of always spending won't make a difference. Spending should happen, but you have to first take care of your business internally. If you do that, then the spending can just, go in and enhance what you have, but you can't rely on the spending, which I never thought was my theme. It was always trying to bring something in for something you were missing. But anyway, they come home. Now, this is interesting. On Friday night, Chris, they got Colorado here. Colorado has the worst ERA of any team in the National League at 6.05 as a team. But they can look at the Pirates and say they have the worst hitting, and they have some of the least effective clutch hitting in baseball. So something's got to give in that matchup.
Ah, yes, the classic resistible force meets the movable object, must-see TV. Now the main interesting thing about the Pirates as they're in this tailspin is, when does Paul Skeens get called up? I happen to think...
To hit?
I know, to
yes.
DH, right? He'll
DH
and he'll be Ohtani 2.0 for them. No, I do think that now it's, when does Paul Skeens come up? I still think he makes one more start in the minor leagues, and then I think his first start here is probably May 10th. That's still my guess. But this is just, it's a sad state of affairs, Bob. I don't really know how else to put it. It's not good. You know what? John Parada was on our station today, and I like John. I think his work is very good. I think John tells it like it is. And you know what's a damning indictment of them from a development standpoint? The fact that he said, and he's right to say this, Oneil Cruz looks like right now a great athlete who really doesn't have the nuances of baseball down pat. And that would be two guys who have sort of that unicorn build to go along with Gregory Polanco in the other case, that just never really showed an aptitude for a game that is, yes, based on athleticism, but also based on very specific skills and sort of things that you pick up and that develop. And Oneil Cruz doesn't appear to have developed any of those finer point skills for the sport.
Nope. All right, welcome back. Codify has our GMC Sierra tweet of the night. And this is about Mason Miller out of Bethel Park and Waynesburg, then on to Gardner-Webb, and now with Oakland and becoming a star. Complete list of every pitcher in Major League history to have 8 saves and 20 strikeouts in any span of 8 regular season games. What a great story that is. Jeremiah Miller, who's producing this show here tonight, Chris, he played down there with him, got to get to know him, and he had a diabetes situation on his hand, did Mason Miller. He's overcome that beautifully, and maybe he was a late bloomer because of it, only a 3rd-round pick, but boy, that slider that he has to complement the 102-mile-an-hour heat, that's pretty enticing, isn't it?
It's pretty phenomenal. He's the best closer in baseball right now, and that's not an exaggeration. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Bob, but the diabetes diagnosis, quite honestly, might be the reason he's in the majors. He failed a drug test when he was going for an internship at a doctor's lab or some sort of medical lab, had them run it again, and they basically said, either you're cheating the test or you basically are diabetic. Well, turns out he was diabetic, and he added, I think, over 50 pounds of weight. He was always a lanky kid. It's a phenomenal story, and I really believe, based on how things shook out for him and how his career changed, if he doesn't have that diagnosis, I don't think we're talking about him in the major leagues right now. And by the way, he made the Pirates look very, very silly
yes.
Last night. I mean, they were flailing. 1, 2, 3, all strikeouts. Nobody could touch him. It's pretty incredible stuff.
It really is. We got a lot of Pirate calls. We'll get to the football in just a second. But first, let's get to the hotline, beginning with Will in McKees Rocks. Hey, Will, what's up?
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
We're good. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for taking my call as always. I appreciate it. Listen, I have a Pirate question. With the way things are going right now, is Derek Shelton's job in jeopardy?
No, I would say no, because he signed an extension. I think before you see that, you'll see Andy Haynes go. But, at this point, you can even make the argument that Ben Cherington, if you're going to put Shelton in that situation, he's the guy who's in the kitchen with all the ingredients. The guy who's supplying them hasn't done that good of a job either, Chris.
I would fire Ben Cherington before I'd fire anybody else. And they're not going to fire a general manager midseason, but if they don't even reach last season's win total or, frankly, exceed it and start looking a lot better, explain to me, anybody out there, if you're a Ben Cherington supporter for some reason, why there would be any reason to keep him. If they go like 72-90, that's a step back in what was supposed to be an urgent win year. That would represent a massive failing on his part to procure the correct talent, to have his people develop the talent. Here's one more thing. They make me so mad right now, Bob. You've got O'Neal Cruz, who's not young, by the way. He's going to be 26 sooner than people think.
Exactly.
He's 25 right now. And he doesn't look like he knows what's going on out in the field sometimes. I mean, just throws that have no business being offline, the awkward slides like Polanco. He can only right now hit right-handed pitching and only a little bit. And then in the same division, there's Elly De La Cruz, 22 years old, came up last year, fought through some struggles, and looks like one of the best players in the game and a rising superstar. I can't get over how frustrating this team is, and I can't get over how much of it really is Ben Cherington.
And if you want to get your opinion heard, don't forget to tune in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call tonight at 10:35 on KDKA+. So give us a call at 412-575-2600. We do it every night after the 10 o'clock news. For CBS News Pittsburgh, I'm Bob Pompeani.